So there's this narrative out there, and it's getting quite louder as the NFL draft continues to roll on. We are now in April. The NFL draft is basically here, just a few short weeks away. It is draft month. It is draft month. And there's smoke screens, there's stories, there's leaks. Everyone is throwing everything out there to throw other teams off for what they really want to do. What are the Cardinals going to do at number 4? What is the Commanders going to do at number 2? The Bears are going to stick and pick Caleb, but that's really all we know at this point until the NFL draft actually kicks off later this month. But here's a story that I'm just not buying. I'm just not buying. I'm not buying JJ McCarthy going number 2 overall to the Washington Commanders. I just don't get it. I don't buy it. And at number 2, I understand that his floor is higher than a lot of others, and his ceiling is not as high as others. But I'm not going to buy into this notion that since we saw Brock Purdy, who is obviously limited, had some of the issues Jimmy Garoppolo did, but was able to distribute that ball to effectively in numerous ways than one, able to hit Deebo Samuel in the seams, hit guys open when they are open, hand the ball off to Christian McCaffrey, be able to dissect and read defenses. But I don't believe that that's where the NFL is pivoting to. I don't believe that the game that I love, that I've been watching for years on end, is now going to go from the dynamic playmaker who's a little rough around the edges that needs some sculpting to get to where he wants to go, i.e. Josh Allen, i.e. Patrick Mahomes, and turn completely the other direction and say, this guy's got a low floor. Sorry, this guy's got a high floor. This guy's got a low ceiling, but his bust potential isn't like the other guys who's a bit higher. I just don't buy that. I just don't buy that the Washington Commanders are going to pass up on other prospects such as Drake May and Jaden Daniels, both of which guys that even I have some questions about, but you cannot deny that the talent is there. Whether it's the arm strength, the legs, the mobility, the Josh Allen-like explosive arm, Patrick Mahomes-like explosive arms, that, yeah, they have question marks. Drake May, some accuracy issues. Josh Allen had those coming out of college. Jaden Daniels, does he have the ability to protect himself? Lamar Jackson had that coming out of college. He's a 2-time MVP. There's no way to me that NFL teams are going to start following the Brock Purdy, Kirk Cousins path and say, we don't want to take a chance on an otherworldly talent that just needs some effective coaching, and say that that's what we're going to go towards. Not the crazy athletic, physical freak of nature. We're going to go safe with the high floor, low ceiling, and pass on a guy like Drake May. I just don't buy it. To me, there's zero chance the Washington Commanders take JJ McCarthy over the other guys who are just physically more talented and have all the tools and traits they need to be an effective and, dare I say, elite NFL quarterback at the next level. I'm not so sure JJ McCarthy does. And this is not a JJ McCarthy slander video. I was on the JJ McCarthy train long before everyone else was back in October, because I saw it with JJ McCarthy. And it is a little Brock Purdy. And it is a little Kirk Cousins, where he doesn't have all the tangibles. But the intangibles are there for JJ McCarthy. But if you go ask JJ McCarthy to be a life preserver for a sinking organization over the last few years in the Washington Commanders, it will blow up in your face. It will blow up in your face. JJ McCarthy needs similarly what Brock Purdy needed. A good offense, a good head coach, an effective offensive-minded head coach with multiple weapons that can help guide him, i.e. Brock Purdy with Deebo Samuel, Christian McCaffrey, George Kittle, Brandon Ayuk. JJ McCarthy would not work with the Washington Commanders. That would be insanity to pick him there and expect him to be a life preserver for your sinking organization. You know where JJ McCarthy would work? The Minnesota Vikings. The best place for JJ McCarthy to land and to have success is not the Washington Commanders. He's not physically talented enough to carry that dysfunctional organization that has been dysfunctional for 40, 30 years now. If you have JJ McCarthy go to the Vikings, similar to Brock Purdy, he doesn't have to do everything. He's got a great offensive-minded head coach in Kevin O'Connell, Jordan Addison, Justin Jefferson, TJ Hawkinson. Is this sound familiar? Is it ringing a bell? JJ McCarthy to the Washington Commanders would be a debacle for multiple reasons. So don't be silly, Washington. Don't take a guy who is physically limited but has a high floor. We've already seen that with you. It was Alex Smith. It didn't work out for you. Alex Smith, although some injuries got in the way, they were never a viable, competitive playoff team. Take a swing. Try to jack one over the fence. Go after Drake May. Go after the physically freak of nature that just needs some sculpting with some good coaching. Or even that in Jaden Daniels, who I have multiple questions about. But you can't deny the talent is there. JJ McCarthy works in Minnesota, works with Kevin O'Connell, works the Brock Purdy path, in which he'll have multiple weapons and an offensive-minded head coach. But you can't ask him to save your sinking organization. It won't work.